Welcome back to Runeterra Academy Extracurricular Activities, week number 3. I am joined with Headmaster Red, as usual, and special guests BBC Kenrick and Ivar.
Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
How's it going, folks?
so we're going to be doing things in the opposite order this time. We're going to be starting with the senior power rankings, because I know the freshmen always somehow miss out on it, so we'll give them a little time to funnel in.
Yes, yeah. We had too many people missing it and complaining about it. I mean, we tell them what time to show up, they just don't show up. So we'll just make it easier on them. Put the seniors first, and we'll just hit them right off the bat.
Yep. So for week 3, we have G7 and Akuma tied at first place. Omega Gaming Wildcard sitting at 3rd, Nightless Esports at 4th, CPP at 5, Team Ambition Glory at 6, Performance Unenhanced Ducks sitting at 7th, and Redbird Club Varsity at 8th.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that we literally agree on everything except for first place.
Yep.
And I don't think G7M and Akuma are too big of a difference in skill. Last split, there was quite a big difference in skill between G7M and literally everyone else. But now it looks a lot closer, and I genuinely believe all these top 5 teams could probably beat G7M on a good day.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the game between OGW and Nightless. It was a stomp in the first game for Nightless, and then a double stomp back for Omega. So,
right, exactly.
Pretty,
speaking of that,
weird.
Speaking of that Nightless and Omega game, Ivar, I understand that you had a horse in that race, and that was quite a banger series, was it not?
Yeah, I think once we got our starting lineup back for game 2 and game 3, we were able to close it out pretty quickly. I don't want to power rank my team because obviously I think we're the best in the league, but omitting Omega Gaming wildcard from the rankings, I think everything else makes sense. I think I would probably be favored towards PVS, where I would put Akuma above G7 Mirage, and then Nightless, and then go down the list just like that. But I think it's really, really close between the top 4 teams. There's a clear divide. I don't know if you guys can agree on that, between the top 4 and the bottom 4 in senior.
I would say top 5 and the bottom 3. There's a clear divide. I don't really know about CPP yet, but they feel like a good enough team to compete in the top 5.
Yeah, they're a very swingy team, you could say. They're not a.
Yeah.
They have some inconsistent wins and losses. So
I also think Nightless is strong. I don't think their performance thus far has indicated the strength of their team. If they can get going, they have really solid playmakers through their mid and bot lane. So I think they're also like a kind of a dark horse in that top 5 separation that we've kind of decided here. But I think realistically, any of the top 5 teams can beat any of the top 5 teams. I think it all comes down to coordination. And I don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not.
Oh, I agree. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see some of these guys play each other. It's whenever the top 5 play each other, it's literally always 3 games. It's always a banger. And so and we've only had 2 of those series so far. So as the season goes on and we see this G7M versus Akuma and then G7M versus a wildcard because they haven't played yet, right?
Nope.
I think we did play wildcard week. G7 versus wildcard was week 1. Yes, we lost 2-1.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll have to wait until week 6 for Akuma versus G7. So a little bit.
I'll make a prediction that there might. I'm gonna say week 7 there's no undefeated teams. That's my bold prediction.
100% guaranteed.
I also actually it kind of depends how much G7 funds it, right? They pick some wonky comps sometimes for fun, and they might lose a series or 2 from there. But I think when it really comes down to it, and they buckle down, they're a solid team. But that's the only thing I can see with them losing a game.
Well, they do the patented game 2 troll. So they win game 1 and then they troll game 2, and that's how they test teams, is what they've said. If they lose, game 2 while they're trolling, then they know they're up against a decent team. If they win while they're trolling in game 2, then they know
Well, I mean,
they don't really need to play hard against the team ever again. So.
it seems they're getting tested a little bit more this season than last. So.
Well, that's definitely true. I mean, they already have more losses this season.
Yeah,
than
double
they
of
did
their
last
losses.
season. Yeah, that's quite nuts. Yeah, so the other big important thing to point out, us Infernal, got the top 2 spots.
True. Who expected that?
I mean, we kind of all expected that so far, but I honestly, I kind of wish we could just speed run the season for senior and just jump straight into playoffs, because I feel like it's gonna be so sick when we get to playoff time.
Is it top 6 playoffs,
Yeah,
Red?
all top 6.
Yeah, it's top 6.
And it's double elim, correct?
No, it's just single limb, but they're
BO5s?
all best of 5s,
Okay.
and first and second seed get a bye. So
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Just get first
Should
and
be
second, and
interesting.
you're good.
I think there'll be a lot of tiebreakers that might come up, but
yeah.
will come down. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think
Well-
Akuma has been tested yet this split. They've had pretty 2 easy teams, and they lost a game against Team Ambition Glory, which might be worrisome. But we'll see. The patch is trending towards them. I can say that much because I know who their players are. But we'll see.
I will also point out Bloods looking a little bit like USC last season, taking a game off of everyone, but not winning 2. They can't win 2 games out of 3, but they can take 1. So they might be able to sneak their way into that 6th spot or 5th spot for playoffs if they keep up this kind of performance.
Yeah,
because game score is important in tiebreaker scenarios.
It is very.
So, it's
Alright.
very important.
Well, do you want to move over to the junior power rankings?
Yes, since we're talking about tiebreakers, might as well move over to Junior, because
Yes.
Junior loves being tied.
Of course. Everybody loves going 1-1. 1 through, I guess, 2 through 7 are all tied. Not according to our power rankings, but we still
Right.
have BBC and CB Rush tied at the top.
We're fighting PPS.
We are. We got
No
Enigma
way.
Reapers at 3rd, Omega Gaming Unknown at 4th, My Tourney Collective at 5th, tied with Air Esports Revival, and Nameless Empire at 7th, and Catalyst Eclipse hasn't picked up a game yet, so they are sitting at 8th.
Yeah, but if we do a little maybe throwback to last season, this is looking very similar to last season, and the team that was at the bottom, they came back. They made playoffs, so it's
True.
not doomed for Catalyst. In fact, I think they've had maybe a pretty tough schedule so far.
Yeah, who have they faced?
They played CB Rush, I know that.
Yeah.
And then they played Air Esports.
I mean,
which
Air
we have.
Esports is a mid-tier team. I mean,
Yeah, but they play BBC this week, so it's a rough early start to the season, but
It's looking kind of doomed.
yeah, it is looking a little doomed. But I like to remind people that USC had like a 2% chance of making playoffs last season, and they ended up doing it. So nothing is ever out of it, especially in these kinds of divisions where 6 teams make it. You only need to win 2 series, so there's definitely opportunities for Catalyst to come back. But I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that you put CB Rush first over BBC after BBC 2-0'd them.
Yep, I did. I think CB Rush is definitely scaling into the late game. I think BBC is gonna drop a game to a low tier team.
Okay.
I think they're gonna drop a game to 6th, 7th, or 8th.
But they have to drop a series.
Yep. I think they'll do that.
Okay.
I think
this is some
Air is gonna surprise them.
This is some immense copium I'm hearing right now.
It does sound really copium like. I'm so confused.
I don't know.
The logic here.
I still believe in
I don't
Hudson.
know. I think if I was going to have a separation in like we did in senior, it would probably be BBC, CB Rush, and obviously I'm gonna be biased towards Omega, but I genuinely think they deserve to be in the conversation for top 3. and then kind of everybody else. So, like that's the separation I see. I really want to hear why PVS put Omega Gaming Unknown at 6th when they just beat Enigma Reapers last week and put them higher than us.
I'm gonna say it's an off game. It's a fluke.
Or who?
Omega.
You mean
We
it's
won.
Enigma.
It's
Win.
Enigma.
It's a fluke win.
So Omega fluke win with an
They
E-sub is
coin
what you're
flipped
saying?
it. They coin flipped it. The
Okay, we
E-sub was
coin flipped it
carrying
with
it.
an E-sub.
E-sub was carrying.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
E-sub
is
support was carrying.
He is
Add him to your
overdosing.
roster, please.
He's
He
already
is
added.
Well, there you go. There, you can't lose anymore. So maybe I'll have you in the
Uh,
top 4 next next power rankings.
Unbelievable amount of
but,
code, dude. Holy crap.
I will
This is
say,
really
Zenigma was very classy and understood the reasoning why we had to E-sub and let us keep our bans. So shout out to them. I appreciate that. It was a really, really good series, and they figured out what they think that they know what they did wrong. So as long as teams are improving as the split goes on, that's what we want to see. That's how the competition's going to get better.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Junior is it kind of feels like last season Senior, where there's like a block of 2, and then the next 5 kind of feel really close. Like we as the season goes on, we'll get a better picture of their like strengths. But OG Unknown, no offense to Ivar, didn't really look competitive against BBC. But a lot of these 1-1 teams have played each other, so it was kind of easy to rank them for me. Like OG beat Zenar, but Zenar beat Empire, and then Empire beat MTC, and then MTC beat Air Esports. So it was kind of easy to rank them for me. But PVS kind of, I feel like he just,
I still got the
It was
error. These
he was hooked on a feeling.
these are heart predictions.
Right.
I
Okay.
I tell everybody you're the analytics guy. You're gonna go by who beat who.
Right. That's the logic one, right? Yeah.
I agree with Red's placings. Just one thing though, I would move CBR down 2 spots.
2 spots.
Yeah. I think the worst than Zinnigaman and Omega Gaming Unknown.
Okay. Okay.
I think he can have a better representation of between at least CB Rush and Unknown because BBC played both of those rosters and he can kind of tell which roster was harder to play against. So his representation should have some weight to it, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
BBC.
CBR is a bit overrated.
Yeah, sure. But you haven't played Zenar yet.
Yeah, but it's gonna be easy to.
Okay.
I
I guess
love it.
it's fair.
I mean, didn't they drop their ADC as well after we beat them?
Yeah, I think that was a drama thing.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Maybe we don't touch on that one too much.
Yes.
But there was Enigma does have a hole in their team. That's true right now. They do have to play CBR and then BBC back to back. So we might actually see them drop down the rankings a little bit. But the good news is that the last half of their schedule is like pretty easy, so I expect them to make playoffs. Definitely
Will say.
maybe 3 to 6.
I will say don't sleep on Catalyst. I know a lot of those players, they might not be performing now, but they have a pretty solid coaching staff around them, and they could be scaling towards the late game. We'll see how they do the next couple of weeks. Who did they play thus far?
They
has their
They played
str-
CBR and Air Esports.
okay.
Yeah, and now they play us.
Not CB Russia, I understand. Losing two straight up. The Air Esports, I haven't seen too much on them thus far, so I can't really give my assessment, but some notable players on that roster that I know. So I think that they have the potential to, make a run towards playoffs at least, like you mentioned at the start, where just because they're 8th now doesn't mean they're completely out.
Yeah, I wouldn't count them out either. I know some of the players as well. I know Catalyst is a good org. They go against BBC this week, so I do kind of expect them to go 0-3 at the start, but it's definitely not over.
4-3 dream. 4-3 dream.
Exactly.
We might just mess around and start first time with some champs against them because
just to help them out a little bit.
even then I don't think they're all that. I think it'll be free.
Okay.
All right, sophomore time.
I think no. I got one more question because Kai is begging me. So you have to tell me, Kenrick, is Kai the reason you won? Did he gap CBR Acid? And was CPR acid actually a liability for BB?
Oh man, like I kind of don't want to answer because like I'm cool with both of them. You know, like I like acid still, but I will say that I think acid is a bit overrated. Like I know he
Oh,
like I know he got
Shit.
MVP last season, but on the poll, I actually voted for Ego Ben over him. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
all right. That's your question.
Okay. Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to because
All right, all
Kai
right.
wanted his shout out. So
Okay.
there you
Well,
go, Kai.
we'll do sophomore division 2 first because we're going backwards. So
Okay.
yeah.
I
So
won't be doing it.
here it is. We got Project Maverick and Mint Potato tied at first. OMTZ third. Team Ambition Gold Age fourth. Revenge Esports dropping 4 spots to 5th. Spiders on Stilts at 6th. RAR at 7th and QGB at 8th.
Yeah, I think top 2 is very clearly. Actually, I would say a top 3 is very clearly forming. Because I want to include OMTZ in there, which is 1-1, but that's because of some things that happen.
Strict there. Let's just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that. But they feel good enough to compete with Mint and Project Maverick. I will say I like how Division 2 is shaping up. There's some pretty damn good teams in here. When I think about the strongest teams in sophomore, for some reason it's mostly the Division 2 teams.
Yep. I agree.
So it does feel like like whoever makes it for playoffs in Division 2, I mean that's just going to be a nightmare for the Division 1 side. Like
Is it sorry to cut you off. Is it top 6 from each or top 4 from each?
top 4 for me. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Oh god.
You got to be better than 4 teams instead of 2. That's a lot more
Yes.
difficult.
Shit.
I'm shaking in
Every
my
win
boots.
is very important.
Yeah. It doesn't. We will like. Actually, last split it came out pretty clean. Junior was the only one who had really like big tiebreakers.
Dude, Junior was literally a contest of who sucks the least.
Yeah, exactly. It was very much that. A lot of teams were vying for the spot, and nobody was out until the very last second, and that was very fun. But the lower elo divisions usually shaped out pretty obviously. So I think the top 4 teams will shine, but I think there are 5 contenders in this division. That is a little bit of a slight at Spiders on Stilts for me. I got them at 6th. They just, to me, I feel like this team could have played in freshman and they would have been popping off. But the fact that they're in sophomore, they feel like a mid to low tier team in sophomore, while the other 5 feel like they can definitely compete for the playoff spots.
Yep. I mean, I still don't have much of an opinion on most of these like bottom teams like RAR and QGB. Not really sure what's going on with them. I expected QGB to be like, I think I rated them first place at the beginning. So
But that was like a familiarity thing.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, I guess so, but I expected a little bit more prestige from them, you could say.
okay. So I will talk about how an OMTZ member is actually in the call here.
Hello.
Oh, Ivar. Will you tell me, will Project Maverick's top laner gap your top laner?
Will projects. Well, we already played them.
Well, you did
Right.
probably. Oh, that's right.
And they got
Well, we
hard
did-
gapped.
We
Was it
had
a hard
a
game?
we
It
had
was a
a sub
2-1.
we had a sub top laner play. First of all, really was not
Mhm.
unavailable
Get your main
that
roster.
weekend because he had a wedding to go to. I think so. He had something to do.
Oh my god.
And we had a jungler playing top, and he did not do the best. I will say though, those games definitely were a test for our Zeus roster in terms of our mental. I think at one point we were down 9K in game 1, and we came back and won. I think that
Oh, I
happened this
do
week as
remember that.
well. This happened this week as well. We actually won the game being down 8K against Revenge.
Yes. There were
I
some
think
very salty people after there.
Yeah, I think a big thing I've realized is, at least within my roster, is a lot of the players on my roster have a lot of comp experience. Granted, we haven't played together as much. We've only had, how many sets have we played? 4 games. We've only had our 4 games together as a team. But I think because we have so much comp experience, we each bring something else to the table in terms of like our what we've done in the past, and it kind of helps us stay focused on how to win games. And I think that's what will separate us from other teams. But at the same time, I think, like you mentioned, there's this clear divide between the top 5 teams and the bottom 3 teams. I think it, as you guys have it ranked here with Project Maverick, Mint, Zeus, TA, Golden Age, and Revenge, I think there's a clear divide between them, SOS, Roar, and QGB. I think Team Ambition, Golden Age, their depth is insane. They have 2 really, really strong rosters on their team. Like they could field 2 really, really strong rosters with their subs and starters. So they definitely have a lot of depth and a lot of experience in terms of being able to bring players in and out when needed. And that's something that could separate them from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I think um I think SOS would be like, if I was going to like break it down even more, it would be the top 5, and then SOS would be in a tier of its own, and then the bottom 2. Because I do think SOS has a lot of potential. They have a really good coaching staff, and it's just that the players on paper look way weaker than the rest of the players in this league. I mean, when you compare it to the rosters that are on, like Mint Potato, OMTZ, Project Maverick, TAGA, you just look at them on paper and you're like, oh, okay. And then you look at Spiders on Stilts, and I think they have like silvers and bronzes on the team. But
Same with KGB, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think there's potential, but I think what we'll see is we'll see these top 5 teams play for the 4 spots for sure. But we could be surprised. But on that note, I think we can move over to Division 1.
Alrighty, let's do that. All right, Division 1, we got Team Ambition Wolves and Krakens of Love tied at first. OMTH at third by himself. Redbird at 4th, Blue Sprouts at 5th, Nameless Fantasy dropping 5 spots to 6th, a little bit of a dip there. The Donut Shop at 7th, and Zenigma Zenith at 8th.
Yeah, I think we were really overrating the Nameless team last week, as they went ahead and got 2-0'd by TAW this week.
Yep.
So I think I think what was Nameless was 1, and then we had TAW at 2, and then yeah, it wasn't really close. So TAW going ahead and locking in that first spot, but they'll have to share it with Krakens of Love, who you have in first place.
Yep, I still think Krakens of Love is the better team. Forget who they've played.
We played OMTH and ISU.
Oh, okay, so 3rd and 4th. I mean, that's pretty good competition. Team Ambition Wolves has played
Nameless and BSP.
Okay, so 2 lower tier teams. Okay, that's my explanation right there.
Okay, that's a little spicy for for my liking, but
Nope.
If that's what you think, then that's what you think.
Krakens have played better teams.
Okay. I think on paper, when we saw Krakens at the beginning of the split, they did not look very good on paper, like at all. But they've definitely made some changes to their roster, and I think upgrades would be the most obvious word to use, because they clearly are a much better team with those players in than what they had when they first submitted their roster. OMTH, another big climber, jumping up 3 spots by beating BSP. And another thing to note, Blue Sprouts hasn't won a series yet, but we have them locked in above 2 teams that have won a series.
I will still take their roster over the bottom 3 rosters.
Okay.
Just on
I
paper.
will say there's a caveat. The Donut Shop actually hasn't won a series. They got a FF win. So they are technically 1-1, but they haven't actually earned that win. which is a big deal to me. I think we don't really value FF wins that highly in Runeterra Academy, which is why you don't see them get any game score wins. They just get a match win. Because it's better to earn those wins than to just have them gifted to you.
True.
Agreed.
Yeah, we actually had an issue with that last season. I think what was it? I think Legends Outlaw only played like 2 series. They had like 3 FF wins in a 5-week season.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was pretty wild.
I think teams were just terrified to play them. That's why they FF.
Yeah, it was something like that. But yeah, I think our list is this one's probably the least controversial. I think it's very straightforward. Again, we have like a group of 5 that are fighting for the top 4 spots. I think the biggest question mark is ISU though. They feel good, but we haven't actually seen them play anyone like really stellar yet besides KOL, and they got 2-0'd.
Yep.
But KOL's been doing that to everyone so far, so it's hard to gauge whether like KOL is just that good or if ISU is worse than we expect. So
Yeah, and they played the Donut Shop in the first week. If anyone doesn't know, the Donut Shop was the freshman champions. They moved up. They quote unquote graduated into sophomore. So
I can't win that. The Donut Shop only won because their entire team was like all gold players and freshmen or something.
I mean, their one FF win was against Enigma Zenith. So
So now that they've moved up, I think they've been out more than they could chew.
yeah, well, yeah, that's probably true. They did all under the growth clause and definitely used that opportunity to grow. But now they're playing in Elo, maybe a little bit more suited to them, and they're stuck there now. So they're gonna have to either get better here or continue to be at the bottom.
yep. I mean, is that the ringer to go over to freshman?
Well, there is a lot of discussion in the chat right now. Ivar, Hades greater than Zeus? Question mark.
We haven't played them. I don't know when we'll play them, and I don't know
Okay.
how serious of a game it'll be. I
Right.
think it shouldn't be who's better than each other. I think the goal for Zeus and Hades should be able to help each other get better, so we can meet each other in finals.
Okay, but who's better right now?
I refuse to comment on that question. We're both the same. See, Hades equals Zeus. See, Flyer knows. Flyer knows
So it'd
what's
be
up.
a 2-2 series.
Yeah. We would just play a 2-block, and it'd be 1-1,
Okay,
and then we'll just go our separate ways. I will say I think Blue Sprouts should be 4th here. I know they haven't won a series yet, but
Oh yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I will say that's my take. I think everything else makes sense. Haven't really got to see anything too impressive from Nameless thus far. And that's not shots towards them. They play 2 strong teams thus far. Well, they played one really, really weak team, who I'm assuming is the Zenigma Zenith roster,
Yes.
and then they played against
Yeah,
Krakens of Love, and they
Mhm.
lost, right? So it's understandable why they were 1-1.
Team Ambition Wolves, yeah, but
Yeah,
also
sorry.
basically the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Blue Sprouts, their players are off-rolled. They all play comp on different roles, and they're off-rolling in this league together as friends. So I think once they get, the comp experience needed in that role, they'll start to scale. But that's just my take.
Okay. Last question before we move to freshman. What is more likely, Team Ambition finals or OMT finals?
OMT finals, without a doubt.
Okay. All right. I like it. Well, we can move over to freshman if you want. Division 2.
I know there's a lot of people waiting for freshmen, as there always is. So
Yeah,
we'll start with
exactly.
Division 2 first. We got Big Duck Entourage Shaman at first, Corvu's Blades at second, Shogun Hunters dropping 2 spots to third, Rars Silvers at fourth, TD Shadow at fifth, Glacial Esports Spectre at sixth, Imperium at seventh, and we won't talk about the bottom team.
Yeah. So, for those who are not aware or was not here during our last show, Undying United has dropped out. So We might find a replacement team. We might not. It's all dependent on if we can get a competitive roster that's eligible. But on besides that, we have 3 2-0 teams in this division, which I think is the only division that has 3 undefeated teams. Which is kind of insane, and they all look pretty good. You are a doubter, though, of the Shogun Hunters.
Yep. I think they're a third place team.
Okay.
I definitely think they make playoffs. I can tell you that.
Okay. Who gets the 4th spot then?
According to this, TD Shadow does.
Okay. All right. I mean, I guess that's good logic, right? I think it's either Roars Silver or Glacial Esports Spectre. I think GES just had a really tough, rough start to the season. But I think as they play weaker teams, they're gonna start racking up some wins and get that last playoff spot. So I'm excited to see how that shapes out. But otherwise, there's really not much to discuss here. It's very straightforward. You got 3 2-0 teams, 3 0-2 teams, and 2 1-1 teams. The only argument is who's the best 2-0 team, and to us, we've come to an agreement. Yeah, we kind of agree that it's EDS. Because you have them at second, I have them at first. But you think Corvus is better?
Yes. I think CRVZ is gonna win the Division 2 title. So
I think that's
my
wild.
Pick. That's my pick.
Do you know who Corvus has played so far this season?
Nope.
Okay, they've played Imperium and Undying United.
Oh no, they're fine then.
Okay, so they haven't played any of the top teams.
Yeah, but they're 4-1.
Get the, Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4-1 against the bottom 2. There
Exactly.
I know.
Well, what's the G7 Mirage right now?
Okay.
4-2 against middle tier teams.
Shit.
Hey, but that's not bottom tier teams, dude. Okay, I mean, fair, I guess. And then Shogun Hunters did get an FF win against Undying United because they dropped out. I am also hearing whispers of maybe another FF win for Shogun Hunters this week. So, pretty easy season for them. If they get an FF, they get 3 wins. That's basically playoff locked.
I mean, I think he definitely want to get at least 4.
Is freshman how do I say this, free entry?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Why?
Oh,
I was just
put together a team, dude.
He's thinking about it.
no, like that's something that popped in my head when you were mentioning earlier, but I was just trying to think if there was a correlation with the number of FFs between entry fee or not. And clearly,
yeah, there might be.
Yeah, well, most of the FFs are like from teams that can't really put together a stable roster or are having internal drama. So yeah, there's probably going to be more FFs in the freshman league than any other one.
I think it worked
Yeah,
out that
maybe
way last
roster.
time too.
maybe I put a roster
Yeah.
together for this 8th place spot and go for
Oh.
playoffs.
Okay. Literally smurfing in my league.
Just pick some people off the street.
Literally, I'm going to go into solo queue and start messaging people that are silver.
Okay.
I mean, that might be better than some of the teams here. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Enemy jungle 1v9 said, "Hey, bro, you want to join my team?"
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, any final comments on Freshman Division 2 before we move over to Freshman Division 1? Okay, not everyone at once.
To be honest, I don't
Okay, good.
pay too much attention to freshmen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this league, dude.
So I don't want to say something that's a hot take without having the
Just
knowledge
do it.
behind
Just
it.
do it. Just give us
All
a
right,
hot
I'm
take.
gonna go with what my top laner Ridley says. Imperium wins the league, the best logo.
Okay. All right, I like it.
Okay.
But what if another team joins and takes Undying United's spot and they have a better logo?
The logo's not better than that, but sure.
Okay. Let's move over to Division 1.
Alrighty. So at first, we have a tie for Zenigma Unknown and Kingpin Gaming. third, we have Shogun 2077. Tie at fourth between BDED and QGK. A tie at sixth for Nameless and Flannel, and sitting at last is Paradise Lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Another 3-2-0 teams. It's getting freshman is kind of shaping out to be pretty top heavy.
Yes.
Which makes playoffs very interesting, but makes the regular season a little less exciting. But the highlight here is BDED and QGK probably going to be fighting for that last playoff spot. But another thing I want to point out is that BDED did play against Shogun 2077, and I think universally people consider that not a legitimate win for Shogun 2077. And
No?
if you watch the stream, you probably understand why that was the case. As BDED had to play like the first game 4v5, and if anybody plays a 4v5 and then has to play another game, it can be really hard on the mental, especially at this elo.
True.
So,
Random
I would like to
disconnects.
see them. Yeah, I would like to see them play against each other again to get a better feel of how strong these two teams actually are. Because there was even a point where BDED looked like they could have won the 4v5. So.
Oh yeah, they were way out ahead in that first game.
Yeah. So that would be a little bit more fun to watch. Kingpin, they got a FF win, so I feel like I couldn't put them first. Because they haven't really proved themselves quite yet. Enigma Unknown though, they're looking like a really strong team. Really good team. So I'm excited to see how they play going forward. The bottom teams, they're not out of it. But it is looking kind of bad for Flannel and Paradise Lost, in my opinion. Nameless Existence still has a chance in my book.
I mean, they won a game, so
yeah, the other two did not look very convincing.
competitive.
Yeah, or competitive. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to watch as the season goes on. But to me, I think we have a top 5 again, like a top 5 scenario, and then a bottom 3. So that'll make that playoff race very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, playoffs are always really interesting to watch when you have like very, very top heavy leagues, because then you see like 2 first place quote unquote teams go up against each other in the first round. So, and it is single knockout this season, so we could see some pretty big eliminations early.
Yeah. Best of 5s, who knows what can happen. Especially at this elo, it could get completely wild. You know, I've seen it before. If an IVS team, like, maybe they lose one close game, and their just mental just drops off a freaking cliff. And even if they were the stronger team, just because of the mental diff, they could end up losing that series.
True. Or you could have random. I think random like disconnects and forfeits are much more common at this rank. So maybe a top team just can't feel the roster that day, and then they suddenly lose.
Sure. Or maybe maybe the disconnects aren't so accidental. So we'll see. But I think on that note, you guys don't have any comments on freshmen, right? You guys don't really follow it too much.
I'm gonna go against you guys and say that Shogun wins the whole thing.
Shogun wins the whole thing? Okay.
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
2077.
Okay.
All right. Question for you, PV. What's more likely, Big Duck Entourage finals or Shogun finals?
Like, of playoffs?
Would it BDED versus BDES finals, or 2077 versus Shogun Hunters finals? Which is more likely to be?
I'll go BDED and BDES.
Okay.
I'm still not on the Shogun train.
Wow, that's you will never. Tafiki is gonna be pissed.
I have to
After his hard caps, I'm kind of inclined to disagree with him. So.
Okay. I agree, especially after that junior power rankings. It's hard to agree with a lot of things he says. But on that note, let's go over to the predictions.
Oh, that was loud. Okay.
That was a little loud. Sorry, chat.
And Mike Sock came off. All right, let's head into these predictions. Okay, this is a bit of a long list with how many teams we have. Sorry. So I'll do freshman here. So we both agree that Kingpin wins 2-0. BDE as well winning 2-0. You have Flannel winning 2-1 against Nameless. I have the other way around. We both agree on Zenu 2-1. Next game is a forfeit. We are flip-flopped on GES and TDS. We both agree Shogun will beat Imperium 2-0. BDES, you have them winning 2-1. I have CRVZ winning 2-0. So that's that CRVZ train showing, you could say.
Yeah, I would say mine's a little bit more realistic on that last one there. Because BDES has actually played teams and Corvus has just played the bottom teams. But other than that, I think a lot of these matchups, especially amongst the bottom teams like Flannel versus NMLE and GES versus TDS, I think those are coin flips. So I'm not surprised that you took the other side of those.
Yep. You know me. I love predicting 2-0s and the opposite of what you like predicting. So
yeah, exactly. So did we want to move over to sophomore?
yeah, you can read those ones.
Okay. So we both have almost the exact same picks all the way down.
Yep.
We have TAW beating Zenzi, KOL beating TDS, OMTH versus Nameless, Blue Sprouts versus ISU. All those kind of those. We both picked the Blue Sprouts upset, which I think is more like a toss up. And then for Division 2, we have TAGA beating Revenge in a 2-1. We both think that'll be very close. OMTZ beating QGB 2-0. SOS beating RAR. And then we both have Project Maverick beating Mint, which is
I think that's probably going to be the closest game is PM versus Mint. Although it doesn't say it there with my 2-0, I think that's probably the closest sophomore game we're going to have this week.
Hot take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. Hot take. Revenge beats TAGA.
I mean,
that's definitely possible.
Okay. It's definitely possible. I think we both consider that a pretty close matchup. I am a little worried about Revenge's mental after last week. Yeah, so I don't know how it goes from game to game, but and we do know a little bit about Int Kazuchi's mental.
El Kazuchi.
So, El Kazuchi, yeah. It can be very swingy. But I do think most of these are kind of like the top teams placing against the bottom teams. The only ones that are the exception is Blue Sprouts versus ISU, TAG versus Revenge, and then Mint versus PM, and I guess SOS versus RAR. But I know there's a lot of Mint fans in sophomore. Yeah, well, there definitely
Are you sure they're just not mid players that are just talking about themselves? So they do this thing. I don't know if they've done it here yet, but whenever they win a series in Trash Talk, they'll all 5 or 7 of them will post the same picture that says Mint win, and it's just a spam that goes into after they win. But it's the same. It's just their team.
You're saying it's not the silent majority, but actually the loud minority.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? But I like it. Okay, I like the belief. I like the hype that they bring, and it feels like they have their own fandom, and that's to be appreciated.
I'd really love to see that match on stream.
What'd you say, Kendrick?
You gotta love the fans, dude. They're amazing.
Exactly. I mean, BBC does. G7M literally does the same exact thing as Mint, and I don't see them get nearly as much flack. So, and I think BBC kind of does it to a lesser extent. So
we do it sometimes, but we actually have like some fans like
that's true.
legitimately.
That's true. But I think it's the logo that got you most.
True.
So it's not quite with Mint. Mint just has like a random leaf. So they have a boring logo, but yeah. So Yeah, I think all the top teams kind of like hype themselves up, so I'm excited to see it, especially for this series. And if it's a 2-0 for Mint, I think I'm gonna go Mint wins the whole thing if they 2-0 PM. That's my hot take.
That's fair.
So
They've been around for a while, Mint.
yeah,
They previously were called Mounted Inters and they rebranded to Mint. But same org. They've been around for a little bit. They know what they're doing.
Yep. I mean, I think we move over to the junior predictions here. We are pretty split on the bottom two games. So we both have BBC winning 2-0 against Catalyst. I don't think that would surprise anybody. We both have Air winning. You have them 2-1. I have them 2-0. I have CBR 2-0ing Zen R. You have Zen R winning 2-1. And you have OG winning 2-1, and I have MTC winning 2-1.
yeah, I think CBR is gonna need a week to recover their mental. So they're gonna lose, and that's my opinion.
They do have acid. It is true.
Getting 2-0'd against the biggest opponent it can be pretty bad on your mental, especially when it's supposed to be a very close series, and it kind of really wasn't.
Did they go through any roster changes after they lost?
No, I
don't
think they
think
just
so.
added subs. They just
I
added
will
subs.
actually. I will tell you that their support after that series, it got flamed so hard, and one of their
Wh-
players, I'm not gonna say who, but one of their players wants that guy gone. So expect to see new support.
Who was playing support for them?
Oh, MC Angel. I think his name
It was Andrew or Pizza
is
playing.
Angel. He starts here, but I did hear that Pizza might be moving and
Pizza doesn't want to
CBR.
play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I know he starts for Excellency, CB Rush's team in Excellency, right?
Yeah, and in
Yeah.
Aegis and in Blue Otter. But he's been trying to get them to find an actual support because he doesn't want to play. He just wants to be a sub for them. Like,
Oh,
he
I
can fill in
see.
once in a while. He doesn't want to play 5 tournament games a week like the rest of them.
Yeah, those guys are psychopaths, dude.
That's true. I mean, I think Akuma's kind of the same way though. They also Nightless is the same way too. They also play in like 5 leagues, right? So,
They're in
Yep.
2. They're in you guys in Legends, I believe.
really? Oh, then maybe they just finished like playoffs because I remember Quanta telling me they played like 5 series in a week or something like that.
They
Oh,
had a reschedule into the next week game, like it was in the same week, and then they had this week Legends start, and then they had their Valorant. So it was 5. It was a
okay.
lot.
Yeah.
Valorant.
Anyways,
But I got
Stickers.
OG Unknown. I got OG Unknown beating my Tourney Collective. They to me, OG Unknown is fighting for third. So I just don't see my Tourney Collective doing that. I don't think they're fighting for third. I think they're fighting for fifth or fourth. So to me, OG Unknown looks like a better team. What do you think, Ivar?
First,
Do you think that the first
yeah,
Any
I said
rebuttal
it
for
when we were
BBC?
I said it when we were doing the juniors power rankings. I think the clear divide is the top 3 is us, CB Rush, and BBC. I think everybody else is under that. But we still have a lot of season to play. There's still 5 weeks left, and there's still a lot of things that can happen in 5 weeks. A lot of teams' rosters now are not going to be the same roster at the end of the split. I know that's not how I do things, but some teams just start dropping players when they start underperforming. So like who knows?
Gotcha. And surprised you didn't mention Zenigma Reapers, and you said top 3.
3,
But
yeah.
Enigma Reapers, they took a game off you. You know, I mean, it was kind of close.
It was a close series. Um,
Okay.
I don't think they're a weak team. I think they're going to make playoffs for sure.
Do you think if
Um,
they beat CBR this week, would you consider them part of a 4-pack?
I don't think they will beat CBR.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think they beat us game 2 because we drafted ourselves in a poor draft, which was fine. It happens. And then in game 3, they should have won game 3, but they couldn't close it out, which indicates that like they're not as strong as people are thinking, right? They just let us do whatever we wanted after a while when we were playing a scaling comp. Like if the enemy team has Senna and Seraphine and you're letting them get to the points where they're just gonna win the game, then you're not playing the game to your strengths or your composition strengths. And that's
Okay.
just my take on it. That's just my personal take on it. I can speak more on it because of I was able to watch the game, but I don't think they're a weak roster. I think they just need to start recognizing uh, more about winning, like what their win cons are in game, and which is why I don't think they will beat CBR. I think even if they have early game lead against CBR, CBR is just too experienced in closing out games and coming back into games that they'll win the series.
Okay. Kenrick, any agreements, disagreements with these predictions here?
I agree with Red's results, except the bottom two are both going to be 2-0s.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think
You think Xenar is gonna 2-0 CBR? Okay.
I think TBR is going to be on the downfall now. I think things over for them.
So they don't even make playoffs? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to say that, but I'm saying there's a very good chance that they don't even meet us in finals.
Okay, okay. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, I think we can move over to senior now. Predictions. A little bit. Actually, we're only different on one series here. So, AKM versus Puds. We both have AKM winning. I got Puds taking a game because they take a game off of everyone. G7M versus Nightless. I have G7M 2-1. You have Nightless 2-1.
Yep.
Team Ambition Glory versus Cosa Pasta Pirates. That name is a mouthful. We both have them CPP winning, and then OGW versus Redbird. I think very obviously a 2-0. OGW looks like one of the top teams, and Redbird does not. So, but one we differ on, and I think I think there's actually two close series here. I think G7M versus Nightless and Team Ambition Glory versus CPP are going to be close. I think CPP versus TAG would be less close though, out of the two matches.
Yeah, I think CPP definitely is slightly, well, I'd say a little bit of a step over TAG, but
Right. But this G7M versus Nightless one, that could be quite the banger. I'm excited to see how that one shakes out. Oh, Ivar, do you have any opinions on that particular matchup? Because I know you're going to pick OGW 2-0, so.
I think Nightless wins.
I
I think-
he agrees.
I think Nightless's top laner is absolutely insane at the game, Johnny Rockets,
Of
and
course.
he's going to be able to neutralize. I don't know what his in-game name is, and I don't want to dox him at the
Hackett
same
mask off?
time. Hackett mask off in the
Yeah,
top
yeah,
lane.
yeah.
And if they can't play through him, they're gonna try to play through their mid laner, who will be going into Zep, who is really, really experienced at neutralizing lanes and pushing advantages. So I just think if Nightless plays to their strengths and plays towards topside, they will win the series.
Even against Steel City Warrior? That guy's
Really,
nuts.
yeah, Steel City Warriors is not. I think all the players on G7 Mirage are good. I just think it's a really favorable stylistic matchup for Nightless.
All right, I'll give
Okay.
you my series rundown here. So G7M's
Okay.
going to win the first game. They're going to do a
Gonna
little bit
troll
of
the second.
trolling in the game two,
Yeah.
and then they're just going to throw game 3. So that's what
Okay.
I'm thinking. I mean, you've seen Nightless throw a few games here and there as well, so
Yeah. I've seen Quanta react to some of these series, and he hates watching his own team because they can never 2-0 anyone. So, which is pretty.
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
put some respect on the returning champs' names, and I'm gonna say that G7 2-0s.
2-0s. Okay,
That's
okay,
unheard
that's
of.
what I wanted. I like it. I like that. G7M, they're gonna get the nod from me because I've seen them play. Personally, I haven't seen Nightless play in other leagues because that's not what I do. I don't just like watch the ESPN for amateur leagues. But G7M, they were completely dominant last season, and I just can't justify giving them an L. Man.
Yeah, same.
Until I seen it. So, yep, that's where we are at the end of those predictions. Anybody have any final comments on any of these matchups?
Nope.
No.
I
I
think
think
I think
Pud,
that's
I
about it.
think yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe Puds takes the game off Akuma. I agree with you there actually. I think they're that team that's going to be taking a game off everybody.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, dude,
Oh.
Puds are a bunch of rats. I'll tell you firsthand.
Oh, that's true. Didn't they interrupted your undefeated season, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's pretty funny. Okay. All right. Well, on that note, you want to send us off, PVS?
Yeah, that is going to be it for extracurriculars. Extracurricular activities week 3. To all of the teams, remember to schedule your games. They have to be played by Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the day. Yeah,
Good job, Lowell
earlier you
Director.
get them scheduled, the better. We can give priority to teams that have not been streamed before if you get them in early, which you should anyways, because planning ahead's very, very good. But yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you to Kenrick and Ivar for joining in as guests. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. Very cool. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a good night.
Yep. Farewell, everyone.